Hi everyone, it's Agnes and welcome to a very special interview today. I've got Meniyka and Jeremy here today. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, we have actually heard your wonderful success story because you sent it to me and it's been read out. And I will put it down in the description for those that haven't seen it. But you actually said, hey, we're both happy to do an interview, the two of us, which was such a lovely idea. So thank you for the idea, because I wouldn't have crossed my mind to do so.
Yeah.
Now, to start it off, where are you in the world so people know where you are?
We're in San Diego, California.
Okay.
Right there, you can't really see it, but like
Yeah.
right there, there's like a little peak of ocean. We're about 1 block from the ocean.
Oh, wonderful.
One of the most beautiful parts of San Diego.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And you haven't been there long either, have you?
I've been here on and off for like 10 years.
Okay.
It's been 10 months for me.
10 months for you, Jeremy. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. Now, I'm not going to say anything about your story. We're going to start right back at the beginning, where this all started. So go ahead. You take it from where you want to start. Even pre-relationship, as in what you were doing in terms of, what were you doing in terms of, law of attraction, meditation? What were you doing leading up to this wonderful relationship hatching?
Okay. I'll start. Well, it was like 2000. So I've like kind of rocked it solo for most of my adult life. I'm 42.
Yeah.
I'm an artist. I'm also a coach, and I just was really focused on my work and emotions. And I also have like kind of an interesting upbringing. Like I grew up in like kind of an Indian yogi kind of esoteric kind of thing. And there were like a lot of dogma essentially. And so I guess somewhere along the way I subscribed to it, and I just kind of was focusing on my work and my passions. I still had some relationships here and there, but mostly just for fun, nothing long-term, which is pretty unusual for a woman. I would date people and I'd be like, look, let's do like 3 to 6 months and see how it goes. And when it gets boring. Anyway, then in 2016, I was getting into Tantra. And so I started reading about like sexual union and this energy and all sorts of stuff. And I was like, damn, maybe I'm missing out. And so then I kind of started to open my mind to like a more long-term serious relationship. Although I hadn't really changed my life to accommodate it. And so then I started dating more and more, like bits here and there. And, it's like I mentioned in my letter, I totally understand what Abraham means now by like, you get ready to be ready to be ready. And I always feel like, what are they talking about? Like, what is this being ready to be ready business? But that's what was happening, is I was becoming more refined in what I wanted, and I was becoming a better match to what I wanted. And then, like I mentioned in my letter in 2018, I kind of fell for this. I always date kind of younger. I don't know why. Maybe I look younger. My energy's pretty young, even though I'm like fairly mature and wise, I guess, just from my experience. But I was kind of attracted to younger folks. And I fell for this like 26-year-old when I was 40. And it was mutual, but I didn't really understand law of attraction at the level I do now. I've been studying this. Like I've been studying Abraham since like 2010. And I grew up in a family where channeling, channel material we were reading it every day. Because in India, they do a lot of channelings and stuff. And not to say all channel material is 100 and it's always run through the filter of the person who's the medium. So I didn't agree with a lot of the stuff that I was reading at that time, but I was familiar with it. So I've studied a lot of positive thinking. I've been practicing meditation for well over 25 years. I've had like a healthy lifestyle with a ton of fun, which a lot of people might not consider, like partying and all this kind of stuff and festivals. They might not consider that healthy, but to me, it's like the soul and passion of life. And then I'm getting really sorry, I'm coming back full circle.
No, it's okay.
So then I decided I wanted to do this relationship. I met this young man, and, it unraveled fairly quickly after a few months. And I was really perplexed because our connection was good and all these things, there was so much there. And I was being as positive as I could, but then there was just a lot of kind of deeper under the surface kind of energies going on with me, and he was mirroring those back to me. Like it was almost Freudian and weird, like he would act like my dad and stuff like that. I was just like, what the heck is going on?
Mm.
So I started to delve deeper into all of this stuff. I went deeper than Abraham Hicks and the channel material I was familiar with. And I started getting into Neville Goddard and stuff like that. And then I got into your station, your channel, along with a few others. And yeah, I just got deeper and deeper. And then I started, when I really understood, just like most people, the world is me pushed out. Like literally it's a reflection, you know, it's then I went through that whole guilt phase of like, holy crap, I've not been bringing out the best in the people around me. You know, every thought counts.
Yeah.
So, you know, more refined in my practice. And then I manifested a second person last year. And compared to Jeremy, when I look at it now, I was like, what was I even thinking? So that's a little bit of advice to people who are still on the journey. We're all on the journey forever, but who are maybe where I was last year. You can be so fixated on a person, but the truth is like, trust that your higher self, trust that the greater part of you, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, knows what the best match for you is. And actually that person was a match for where I was at. I needed all those lessons with that person to be ready for Jeremy. But now, and I did say one affirmation that I didn't say in the letter when I was manifesting the perfect version of my second SP. And I'll talk about what like helped me up level, which was this new level of manifestation, was just manifesting from the version of myself that already is there. It's not like living the end, like dinners and stuff like that, but it's literally thinking from that version of myself who's in a perfect relationship. And for me to get to there, I had to go through all that stuff with SP number 2. But I always said in my affirmations, I'd be like, I was imagining him in his perfect version, like my selected perfect version. I was imagining myself like that. But I'd always say, and I'm open to a different face. I'm totally open to a different face because it's going to feel like this either way. And I'm so grateful I said that. And I just think that that's really helpful because sometimes we get so specific on the person. And if I had just been specific about him, I might have been waiting for a really long time, even if I had changed, because I don't know how it works exactly. But yeah, that version of him was not popping through. And so me just saying like, I'm open to another face. And then, you know, Jeremy just literally like dropped out of the universe, like overnight, literally overnight. So that was a really long-winded answer.
Okay. No, that's good. So now, Jeremy, what was going on for you prior to meeting and getting together? Did you have something going on your end? Were you asking for a relationship? Were you happy being single? What was going on for you?
Yeah, at this time I didn't know anything about the law of attraction or the manifestation. But then when I met Meniyka, I realized everything that manifests forever for a long time. And I learned so many things, and I lose my Latin. It's like, it was like something I forgot in my mind.
Yes.
And she teach me was supernaturally. And I think, oh, but like since maybe 2 months, I actually manifest you, because I was like this time in the North, California, working in a farm, living pretty alone in my van. And I was imagining myself, I was alone, so I wanted to be with some people, maybe a girlfriend. And I started to imagine to be with a girlfriend and some friends in my van. And then 2 months after I met Meniyka, and when she started to teach me the manifestation, I realized that un manifeste, malgré moi, je sais pas comment on dit ça en français.
Despite myself. Yeah, despite myself. Yeah, lovely.
Euh, je sais pas
Can
si
I actually, Jeremy, while we're just mentioning something French, where are you from in France?
Brittany.
Brittany, you're born there.
Yes.
And you've been how long in the US?
It's been 10 months now.
Okay, so not long.
Uh-huh.
Wow, big changes for you. Huge. Well, for both of you, but changing countries, changing, you know, culture and all of that's a big jump as well. Lots of new things for you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so we've got the background of what was going on. So how did you meet?
It's really funny. So it was like New Year's Day, and me and a good friend who's now really good friends with Jeremy, we're like a little family. We call him degenerate son. But anyway, me and him were at a beautiful New Year's, like artsy New Year's party, and then we went to visit a friend of ours, and then finally I kind of got bored actually around 3 a.m, and I was like, let's go sneak into that party. Like, we didn't want to pay because it wasn't our kind of music or whatever, but a bunch of our friends were there, so we were like, okay, let's just go sneak into this party. So we did. We like, it was ridiculous. We like climbed, I mean, it's like we're grown people, like grown adults. So we like climbed a tree, jumped over the fence, like snuck into this huge party. And Jeremy was just sitting there. And I just sat down to talk to him. I kind of forgot about it actually, but he remembered me. And then, yeah, do you want to take over the next day? Yeah. Or it wasn't even the next day. Then later that evening, I was going to a friend's house for dinner. My name's a little tricky, Meniyka. It's not like the easiest name to remember.
Yeah.
And Jared saw me. He was like skateboarding. He saw me in my car, and he started like calling out my name. And I was like, what? And I was just so surprised he remembered my name. And
yes,
he ended up hanging out. And yeah, from the next day on, actually, like, we have not left each other's side.
Lovely. Lovely. And how did you know that this was right?
It was just so natural, hey? We're just so easy.
Yeah.
It's
like the way I meet you, like the second day, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Like I meet you like super naturally, and then you disappear.
Yeah.
I say to my friend, "Oh, I meet an amazing girl at the party. I just remember her name, but I don't know where she's from, where she is." And I wait until the night. I take my boat to go to the sunset.
Yeah.
And I just meet Meniyka back, like, surprised. Like, she showed up naturally.
Oh.
This day we never be away each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're literally like always together.
So
I don't know. I've never been like this. It's never been like this before. You know, usually you have like dating and you go through all this stuff. And that was one thing. I think I said that in the letter too, in my email to you. I had been listening to Jasmine Manifest a Specific Person. And I think she has really advanced teachings, because she's really into like instant manifestation. She's like, there's no rules. And so before meeting Jeremy, I started to think, yeah, man, I'm ready. Like, I don't want to do dating. I don't want to do all this stuff. Like, I've done this for like a couple years and like, like been there, done that. And so when I was manifesting, I'd be like I was vigilant. I mean, I've never been so vigilant. I just kind of gave myself a deadline. I was like, okay, for the next month, I'm going to be like a hawk on my thoughts regarding relationships. Like, every time a thought comes up, I'm already in it. It's fantastic. He's about to call me. We just talked. It's lovely. Yeah. And I don't even think like, oh, is he going to call me? Da, 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 or is he going to make dinner? Or da, 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 da. Like, there's no, it's just like, so it's like almost taken for granted. Yeah. And then just occasionally you just say, oh, thanks. I'm so grateful. You know, but it's such a natural flow. And I've never been in a relationship that even, I've been in love, I'd say once before, like really, really, truly in a very beautiful soulmate kind of relationship when I was like 18 to 20.
Yeah.
That was like my last one. But even that took 2.5 years to get there. It took 2.5 years. And I remember swearing to myself, and that's probably also why I took that long break in my 20s and 30s, because I was like, I am never waiting for anyone like that. Like, it was the most beautiful relationship. Well, not as good as this one, but it was beautiful. But I swore to myself, I had like created this like law for myself. I was like, I will never wait for anyone again. But I didn't know it's actually waiting for yourself. Like, you're the one you're waiting for. You know what I mean? You're not waiting for the person. You're changing.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's crazy. It's like, so it's bizarre almost. It's a little weird. It's weird how easy an effort it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, room, it's not like the biggest room, and we live in a pretty big house, but and we share this little space. Yeah, and we just share everything, like everything.
Yeah.
And
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't need a lot of space when you love.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need a lot of space when you don't love, because we're trying to get away from each other.
Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful. It's so nice to just see people that have, I think, moved past that doing lots of techniques, trying to line up, not feeling good, feeling lonely, I mean, that's all stepping stones towards getting to the place where you are happy, at peace, and then you meet somebody, because it's just, as Abraham says, the next logical step. It is a natural thing. It isn't hard. It's not. But I think because I listen to a lot of people, and I will say a lot, like 80% that are working on trying to achieve a relationship, have the belief relationships are hard. Now, if you've got that belief in the background, it will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you have to try and let that big umbrella belief go and say relationships are easy. And they can be. They really can be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just say two things regarding that. One is you got to love your life. Like,
yeah.
I was manifesting Jeremy in my mind. My life is amazing. Isn't my life amazing? Our life is amazing.
Yeah.
Our life is like, every moment's amazing. Like,
yeah.
Our friends are amazing. Our work's amazing. Our abundance flow is amazing. We live next to the beach. We surf. It's amazing. Everything's like amazeballs.
Yeah.
So our life is amazing. My life was amazing before, but it was like added joy. You know, like, I was like, I want to share this with someone and it'd be just that much better. Amazing. And then what was the second thing I was going to say? What did you just say about like people making it easy, effortless?
Oh, having the belief relationships are easy.
Oh yeah, that's like with everything. I think manifesting in everything, it's like, if you want it to happen quickly, you got to make it feel natural. You got to go into the end, you know, and living in the end, it's funny because it's like you can read Neville Goddard and you can do the sats and the, you know, the scenes at night, but it's really like a saturation, convincing yourself throughout the day, stepping into that place where, like I said, it's almost like you take it for granted. It's like breathing. You know what I mean?
You do. Yeah.
Trying to breathe. You're not trying to get dinner. You know what I mean? Like when their hearts.
Yeah, I agree. And it's being well, you either do what you're saying, where you do that on a regular basis during the day, or you get off it completely and you go and do fun stuff and you just live and enjoy, because that in itself is a magnet for good things to come. It's like the better it gets, because you are just rolling with it and feeling good and enjoying. And then a relationship is just another great, wonderful thing in your life. It's not the oasis in the desert.
Yeah. I mean, when like, those are my top 4 things that I recommend to clients, you know, like it's like straight from Abraham Hicks. It's like sleeping.
Yeah.
If you get out of it, go to bed. If that doesn't sound good, like meditate. If that doesn't sound good, go have some fun.
Yeah.
I will say, because like I said, I studied Abraham for so long. And I did do the whole, you know, I kind of was like, my goals were so lofty when I was young, and now I know they're completely achievable for sure.
Yeah.
You know, manifesting them, and I script about them all the time.
Yeah.
But you know, they're so lofty that at some point I was like, I just decided to check out. I was like, you know, F this. This is like way too much. I'm just going to go have fun and enjoy. And it's true. It's the cutest route to where you want to go. But I do think when you pair, I hope I turn my phone off. When you do pair having fun with living the end, I think it's important, because I was having a ton of fun, but then when I get in the relationships, things would unravel because I hadn't really done the work in that particular arena. So I feel like, gosh, I mean, Abraham, they're amazing. Like, I do not want to like speak anything against Abraham. It's one step further. Like, it's important to do the work in your subject, you know, like in the subject that you're trying to manifest in, because you can distract, but once you're in it, then you don't know what to do. And then your old programming kicks in, and then stuff can unravel. Because you're good at having fun and enjoying, but then once you manifest, you're like, okay, how do I maintain this?
Exactly. And
so I think pairing the living in the end and having fun together, it's like really, it's like,
and attracting a relationship isn't that's the really easy part. It's the maintenance, like you say, to continue being the person that you were when you met that person. You don't, because things are gonna, cracks will appear at some point, and that's all right. But if you're doing all the stuff that you were already doing before you met the person, because I see a lot of people drop the ball and they get the relationship and then they stop doing all their stuff, and then the negativity sets in, and then the focus on the other person sets in, and then the whole thing blows apart, whether it's 6 months, a year, or 2 years down the track, because that person has dropped their life and those things that are important to them. So I think you mentioned it at the beginning of the interview, you have to maintain your life. It's really important. And some of that stuff you will do together, and some stuff you'll do a little bit separate, you know, your work or whatever it is. But it's so important to have a real sense of self, that that's what you give to the relationship, is the joy you have in your other parts of your life.
Yeah, I think you just really need to, I mean, okay, you don't have to do anything, but I think it behooves us. I'm just grateful that I'm like such an extremist, and I truly believe this is my reflection. Like Jeremy is my selection and my manifestation, and I am his.
Yes.
But this is my world.
Yeah.
This is my world. I don't like me and Jeremy's world. No, it's my world. And so I'm responsible for everything that's manifesting. We actually have our first little, I don't know, little crack, if you will. Well, should we share it? It's so good, right?
Sure.
You want to share it?
Of course.
You said.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. He's just being a little shy because of his English, but it's awesome. It's so adorable. I love it. Anyway, so yeah, I have a little bed. I have like a little full-size bed. He's 6 foot. He's actually a little bit more than 6'3". And so, yeah, so we went through this period of like 4 or 5 days. I'm kind of a light sleeper. I'm changing that belief right now, but I'm a bit of a light sleeper. I have like a long history. I actually used to be like an insomniac. I like astral travel every night from like childhood. So it's like my sleep has always been super whack. So I've been like getting better and better over the years, but my sleep is light. And Jeremy was really restless for like a few days, which I created probably. You know, I hyper focused on it one time, and then it just got more and more and more. And so for 4 or 5 days, I was like not getting a lot of sleep. He was really restless, not sleeping very deeply either. So finally on the 4th or 5th day, I was like, babe, I think I need to have a night where I can just sleep by myself, which, I mean, most people would probably do that all the time, right? Because we've only been together like 2 months. But for us, because we're like literally like 2 peas in a pod, I mean, we're like literally the other half of the whole. So for us, we were like, damn, like that's kind of sad. Like, you know, so he was kind of sad. I was kind of sad. You know, I meditated. He went for a run. And then we came back, and, you know, meditation's so amazing that way. I practice transcendental. It's like, I love it. It's like the most amazing, non-resistant, no mind meditation. You put the umbrella down and all the inspiration comes. It's amazing. Anyway, he gets back, and then we're like, wait a second, we're masters at this. Like, what are we doing being sad and saying, oh, we can't sleep together? So we scripted together. We basically sat down, took us like 15 minutes. We wrote down any negative thought or any thought that wasn't in line with what we wanted. So like Jeremy's was like, you know, Meniyka's not sweet when she's, you know, low on sleep and cranky. Mine was like, oh, you know, Jeremy's not conscious of his size and, you know, the space he occupies around me. Our bed's too little, and, you know, we can't sleep together in this little bed. It was something like that, 3 or 4 thoughts. We flipped each one. So it was like, Meniyka's always sweet to me, and she always sleeps deeply. And mine was like, Jeremy's always conscious of his size. He's always careful around me, and he sleeps really deeply, and we sleep together perfectly. And then Jeremy was like, and we're getting a bigger bed. and I was like, no, I'm like, we're not getting a bigger bed because I want, you know, da-da-da-da-da. That's part 2. That was kind of funny too. But anyway, going back to those main affirmations, we just did it for that one day. That was it. We wrote them down together. We flipped them together, and then we're like, it's done. Next. That's all we did. We didn't even like reaffirm them or tell you about the it's done and next. Like, that's it. Anyway, yeah. And we've been sleeping together like really well, like ever since then. Like that was it. But this is funny about the bed. He was like, yeah, but I want a bigger bed. And I was like, well, I don't want a bigger bed, like a bigger bed in this room. Like when we move, sure. Because, you know, like just so much going on, just like the space and the feng shui and all that stuff. And so in the affirmation, we're like, oh, we can sleep comfortably together no matter what size the bed, right? Which totally worked. But then I was meditating later in the evening, like in TM, you have 2 a day. It's like 2 15 to 20 minute meditations. And I get out of my meditation and I text him. I think he was like at the beach or something. And I was like, babe, maybe we should get a queen size bed. And I like sent him the measurements for all the bed. And then I like sent it and I was like, wait a second. I'm like, nice manifestation. I was like, that's funny, you know, it only takes one aspect of the God mind to create the thought, and then it shows up naturally, and everyone else like it's their own idea.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Were you imagining, Jeremy?
Sorry?
Were you imagining the queen size bed?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
That's great. That's great.
I've had some like weird light sleeping to have a beautiful dream and sleep like
Really
amazing.
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That's lovely. Lovely. It's good. It's just good working on that together and then moving through it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great. That's great. So what do you want to share? Anything else? Anything else pop in that you want to share?
Mm-hmm.
How is it?
Yeah, I'm a
I
little
mean,
bit
are you both, I mean, are you both working from home? Are you together a lot? Are you, you know, how does that part work?
I work from home, and I also have an office. I do body work also.
Yeah.
And I work like part-time. Jeremy's just infinitely abundant.
Yes.
But he gets like little like gigs here and there. Like our friends own some businesses and stuff, so he works with them occasionally.
Lovely.
And
Good.
We both do
some
art.
art.
We both do art. So like
Yeah.
like macrame and stuff.
Yeah.
We skate, and yeah, we're both right now we're manifesting like a big giant sprinter, and we're gonna like travel down south.
Can you tell us what that is? I don't know what that is.
Down south. Oh, like through Mexico, Central America.
No, a sprinter. I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's like
a big camper.
a big camper.
Oh, like a camper. Yep.
Yeah, and you can like deck them out.
Nice.
Like, yeah, a little bit more hip than RVs.
Yeah. Good. It's
Well,
nice having flexible work schedules where it's not always the same, isn't it? It's a wonderful thing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next level is just like getting my coaching business, and he's probably going to start too, where we can just like work remotely all the time.
Yeah, it's possible. As we know, it's definitely possible. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to share it, because I think it's nice to see end results that are working, that are fun, that are enjoyable, where you feel love and joy and excitement and everything's flowing. Like you said, all parts of my life are really, really, really amazing. So it doesn't get better than that. You just keep adding to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think like manifesting an SP, at least for me, like manifesting a specific person like this is like, I mean, I've manifested so much stuff, like, you know, free Abraham Hicks cruise, diamond rings, like my car. Obviously, we manifest everything in our life.
Yeah.
Like the house I live in, I didn't even like search for it. I just like got the inspiration, the impulse, and like wrote a friend. She's like, yeah, 2 rooms are opening up. Like, come on in. And it's exactly where I want it to be. Like so many things, but when you manifest something like as magical as what me and Jeremy are, it's like you really understand like you can do anything with your thoughts. Like literally anything with your thoughts. It's just but it's just about a level of dedication. Like if you want to go slow, you can, and just have things like kind of pop up like in their own time. But if you want to manifest like on a timeline, or you want to manifest something like instantly, you really can. It's just about saturating your mind. It's convincing yourself, essentially, where it's so real, and you tip the balance, you know, and then, I mean, it's unbelievable actually. So, and it also makes you really, really like, at least for me, like I'm so vigilant of my thoughts now. I mean, I always was, but now it's like a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to waste, you know, every time I like even think one thought about anyone that's not like 100.
Yeah.
I mean, I can pull a Pono it, but I'm like, oh, they deserve a better selection, and I deserve that too. I must select the best possible version.
Yeah.
I don't even want to indulge that much, you know. I'll give myself like 10 seconds, and then I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Serve me.
It's true. It's a discipline. It's just a discipline. It's a skill and a decision. You got to make the decision to live that way. But yeah, the rewards are huge when you do that, because you've got to harness the mind. All this work, whether it's a relationship or amazing, meaningful work or whatever, it's harnessing your thoughts on that subject. So it really can be, you get much better. You have to get better at concentration. You got to get better at focus. Those are the 2 skills you develop as you are talking about this. That's the skills that you need to improve, and they can improve with repetition. That's how you get better at it.
So like, just like our morning practice, like we both meditate, like a no mind meditation, you know, like where you just kind of go into silence, like the non-resistant, you know how Abe always says like the universe is yielding to you.
Yeah.
But we have like the umbrella of our contrary conflicting thoughts up. And so when we do no mind meditation, it's like putting the umbrella down and everything can just come, the inspirations, the impulses. But then we also do like proactive, like scripting. And this, and it's like affirmations, like it's all tied in together, but it's just like, that is like our favorite part of the day. Like we love it.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah.
It's like, I just think those things I think are important because you don't have to do them. Like people don't have to do them, but it's like such a good foundation. You know, it really gets saturated in that space. And then throughout the day, you can see the contrast. If you start to get like a little lazy in your head, that's why I always recommend that, like meditation and like, you know, whatever technique works for you, meditation, scripting, affirmations, you find what works for you. Maybe no technique is really working for you right now. That's fine too. Having fun is like, you know, the best thing you can do. But I think it's really good to like get into those like little spaces with yourself, like really deep. And then it just helps, the contrast helps show you where you're at through the rest of the day. And it's like a good indicator of like where you're at. And if you don't set that foundation, you know, you don't set the bar.
Yeah.
You know, if you know what I mean.
And I think we need time to reflect, not just be living. You got to step away and then mentally reflect on things. You know, whether it's a conversation with someone that didn't go well, or, you know, you're not getting enough clients, or you're just not happy where you live, whatever the subject is, you got to kind of pull back and I think reflect and look at, is there any work I need to do to, you know, and yes, I think silent meditation is one of my favorites. I mean, guided meditations are good too, but there's nothing like sitting in the silence with nothing. Just you and you. That's it, uninterrupted. There's something very powerful in that contemplation and letting go and surrender.
It's total
That
surrender.
it is. It is. It's amazing. Once you do it, you get addicted to it.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if you could keep eating, but it's like just stopping and just like savoring. Yeah,
It is. Yeah.
That's
so true. Yeah. Well, thank you. That's wonderful. I'll put down below I'll put down some Abraham Hicks because we've talked about that, and anything else we've talked about. And you want to say goodbye to the people, and then we'll say goodbye in private.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds good. I wanted to ask you a question though. I don't know if you have like a timeline or not. Are you
No.
Yeah, like I really like this idea of, you know, circumstances don't matter. Like it's one thing to like reflect and you can revise, but like literally this moment is a fresh moment with its own past and history. Bashar had a really, really cool, like, I mean, I've heard it in different ways, but I really like the way Bashar explained it. He was at the Conscious Life Expo here in California, like maybe I want to say a couple years ago. And luckily for me, I ripped the YouTube and I made an MP3 of it, and they took it down like really shortly thereafter. But it's anyone can put their hands on it. It's really good. The first 20 minutes, and he's like, when you get to a certain level, you start to realize there is actually no past, there is no future. There's just the present, there's just experience, and it comes with its own past and future. And you would have no idea, because of your vibrational state right now, if your past memories are any different from what they were a minute ago. And so I kind of like, I really like to approach my life like that now. Like if something doesn't go the way I like, I mean, small things, okay, I'll reflect, I'll revise, whatever, we'll work it out, like the sleeping thing. But like, if it's something I really am not into, I'm like, I just start dropping that. I'm like, circumstances don't matter. This is not even cool. This is like past. I'm on to something new. I'm completely new future, completely new. Just like I haven't heard it so much. So yeah, I was just wondering what you thought about that, like in your.
Well, I do think it's like when you're doing a lot of this work, you are looking at the past, or you're focusing on what the future holds. So you're very rarely here. And the only thing you've got is here to be able to focus. And it's like it's conscious selecting. It's like the books on the bookshelf. You pick what book you want to read. It doesn't mean all the other books cease to exist. You're selecting the book you want to read. So I think that whole thing of trying to be more present, to kind of milk it, I suppose, would be the best way I can describe it, so that you are then living more freedom, more joy, more excitement, more fun, and all of that. And you become someone who is not shackled by focusing in those two directions. Because, I mean, yes, we do sometimes focus on the past for good memories, and I think that's okay, but usually people reinfect themselves with the negative stuff. That's why, and this time that we have, the time is such a valuable thing that it's really, I mean, I know they say there is no time, but the real value I see in the time is using it, because eventually we're going to die and drop off. So using this as best you can to become someone who creates more and more and more incredible things, and then that overflows onto the people you love, it overflows onto the people you work with. I think it's like you can set this amazing example once you bring yourself back to this time and place, and then you direct your focus onto certain things, and then you end up there. You direct your focus onto something, and I mean, that is such a joyful, amazing, fun thing to do. And yes, we've got our humanness in that, where you fall in potholes, you get yourself out, and, you know, off you go and you start again. You don't stay stuck there looking back at the pothole and going, why did I fall in there? You go, who cares why I fell in? Let's keep going. And you spend less time revising, and you spend a lot more time pre-paving. And I think that the pre-paving, the thinking about things positively before they happen, rather than, I mean, I know Neville talks a lot about revision, and as you know, I am a big Neville fan, but why spend time revising if you've pre-paved it properly? You don't need to spend all that time with revision. You let it unravel at a much better rate, in a much more joyful place, because you're lining it up beforehand, rather than just showing up there with whatever energy you got and seeing what happens. You get much more, like you said, you watch how you think. You don't just let it run around doing what it wants, because that, we know, is energy that goes forth, attaches itself to something, and drags something back in. So
I agree. I really, really love, I just love the idea that it's all existing, and
you're selecting.
Even with your past, I get some people need to process it. You know, I actually grew up with like a pretty tumultuous emotional upbringing. And okay, so my father passed away in 2002, and he came to me in a meditation 7 years later and talked about Ho'oponopono before I knew Ho'oponopono.
Wow, lovely.
Yeah, and I didn't even ask for it. I was just like meditating, doing my normal thing, and he just came. I didn't even want to talk to the guy because like I had all this bitterness. And he basically, my guide was like, you know, listen to what he has to say. And it's so trippy because it's all me anyway. But anyway. Like I just wanted to say I'm so sorry. I didn't have the power or knowledge to do better in that life, you know, for you and your mom. And I'm really sorry. And then my guide I've studied NLP since then, but my guide had big golden shears and said, okay, cut the cord between your dad. And I was like, okay, with pleasure. I took these golden shears, and right when I was about to cut it, this cord, all of a sudden I could see. It was crazy. It's like, you know, they talk about right before you die, you see all the things all at once. Yeah, I saw, like, I can't even say how many different relationships with this particular soul that I'd had. I mean, everything from like friends to lovers to father, children, But anyway, long story short, when I did that, I understood the vastness, kind of the non-physical connections that we have. And it was a huge physical release for me. And then the next day, I had a lot of pain that was released from me, but my relationships changed overnight. People started to write me from around the world. Meniyka, I'm so sorry for XYZ. I mean, it got weird. Like I even went to India. I didn't even tell anybody. I was living abroad at the time. I didn't even tell anyone I was off the grid. And my dad's sister found me like in an ashram in India and was like, I got a touching and inspiration. You'd be here. I just wanted to say, I'm so sorry for the way I treated you when you were younger.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. It's just the change in yourself. It was me forgiving, but to come full circle to what you were saying, for me, it's so much easier than to revise the past. It's just to understand that all the pasts exist. All the futures exist. So select the one you want and change, you're writing your story every moment. If you want to write your story with trauma, you can do that. But if you can make the leap and just let it go and be like, I'm
let it go.
Story.
Yeah.
I'm things. I'm the person who never experienced trauma. I'm the person who experienced the trauma and moved through it. If you can just make that jump, you can save yourself, I think, so much stress, so much time, and all that like shadow work. Which on one hand, I understand it's important to acknowledge, but on the other hand, it can be like a rabbit hole,
Yes.
It can hold you like in its clutches. And I think,
it's
like just really like all the things exist. You can just select it. We're like actually the most creative on the planet.
Yeah.
We're writing a story every second. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think there was a moment in my life where I realized I don't have to try and fix this groove. I just got to hop out of the groove. And that was a huge moment because you think, okay, I got to work out what I did wrong. What am I doing? And you're still stuck there looking at this groove that you're in with the problem. You just got to just jump out of it. Just jump out. Stop trying to correct it, fix it. Just jump out and go. And that was a really huge moment in my acceleration, was just jump out of the groove. Stop doing what you're doing. Stop going over it. Stop going over the problem. Stop trying to work out how to fix the problem. Hop into the solution. It's a very different thing.
You're so right. And that's also assuming that you're broken, that there's something to fix. And there's this guy, God, I'm going to butcher his last name, whatever. He's this magnetic mind guy out of Australia. And he talks a lot about this. And he was a millionaire like several times, and he kept losing his $1 million businesses. So then he was visiting in Texas, and he had the chance to interview all these billionaires. And I think I'm assuming it was Warren Buffett, but it could have been any one of these like several billionaires in Texas. And he was like, hey guys, like, what's going on in your opinion? Like, what's going on with me? I make it up to several million, 10 million, whatever. And then I lose it all. And this billionaire looks him in the eye and says, and folks, if you're interested in this, you check out Magnetic Mind and read like straight from the horse's mouth. It's probably so much better. But he says, because you are a poor man trying to become a millionaire. He's like, you need to step into the identity of you are a millionaire, period. This is who you are. There's nothing to fix.
Yeah.
You literally need to choose the identity that you want, and that's where you think from. Which is everything you're talking about.
Yeah.
But from that moment on, he's been a millionaire, and he's been like steady and growing.
Lovely.
He chose the identity he wanted, and that's the only story that he sticks to.
So
it's like, yeah, it is a false premise to, the old way I was manifesting is like, I'm here, and I'm manifesting this.
Yeah.
So living in the end is realizing, no, you are this, and it's natural and easy for you. You're not trying to fix or create anything.
Yeah.
You're a birthright.
Yeah.
You're a God. This is what you boom, it's not next.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's important.
It takes a while to get there. Because you keep trying to do it from that, I'm here, I want to get over there, I'm here, I want to get over there. And it's the vantage points. That's it, living in the end is, like Neville probably talks about it the best, you live from it. So if that's the case, you're living from a relationship looking back at you who was single. Mm-hmm. It's like you're standing in a different place looking back. You're not standing here looking forward. And it's a weird shift. It's a weird shift at first.
But it makes so much sense when you're there. It's
yes.
It's like, I don't mean, who knows like how it was collectively created, like this matrix that we're in, this universe.
Yeah.
But if there's a God or one great mind or whatever, can you imagine if they were like, oh, I want a planet like that one. We'll call it Earth. We'll have lots of people. They can all jump in like avatars, with whatever.
Yeah.
No, it was like, planet. It shall be like this, XYZ. It's like straight out of the Bible,
Yeah.
There's no, we're the originators. We're the ones who take the first step and create. Yeah, and it doesn't come from the premise of being broken or needing to be fixed.
No, no.
But it's a dance, and you're right. It is a process to get there.
It is a process. Yeah. Yeah.
But once you get there, it's like complete freedom.
It is. It is. And it's so much easier. There's no drama. There's no, you know, stuff still happens, but it's not like this. It's just kind of like this.
Yeah.
Much easier. Well, I'm glad you brought that up just before we were signing off, because I think that's really important.
Totally. And you feel so secure knowing that you can, you know, you can solve anything. You can, like, you don't feel ever like hopeless.
No.
Like with our silly sleeping example, we were sad for like, you know, a little bit, and then we were like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's such a great example. It's not that we don't go into that stuff. It's like, hang on a minute, correct. Let's correct. We don't have to stay here. What are we doing? And you kind of just snap out of it way faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Good stuff. All right. Well, do you want to say see you later to everybody? Then I'll sign off and then we'll say bye.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Behind the scenes.
Bye, everyone.
That was really cute. Oh, lovely. Bye, everybody. I will see you, as always, in the next YouTube, you know where.